Hello everybody, Stephen Michael here, and for today's video, I've got no script. I'm basically going to be trying to just express some of the ideas which I've been thinking about lately. And I think this video was going to be particularly useful for the people who are in a similar boat as me of trying to chase their passions and their dreams, as cliche as it might sound. And I do want to share a lot of the lessons which I've learned along the way because I think it's going to be very valuable for people in the same boat. So where I want to begin is with my why and why I decided to go on this journey in the first place. Because maybe you can relate that the reason you're on this journey in the first place of trying to pursue your passions or your dreams is because you were struck with some inspirations that inspired you to go on the path that you're on right now. And for me, it was actually listening to Jordan Peterson and Alan Watts, which was my first source of inspiration to go on this journey. And the reason for that is because I came across these guys when I was in a dark place in my life and I was seeking direction, and listening to their lectures and their words was sort of acted like a beacon of light in the dark, and it gave me a sense of direction. And it helped me process, things about, God, religion, spirituality, psychology, and all those sorts of things, like see life through that lens, and to help me understand the world and also understand myself. And the reason why I wanted to make this YouTube channel is because I just wanted to pay it forward. Like, these guys had such a big impact on my life in my darkest times. And so I just thought, man, like with all the things which I've learned from them, I want to do the same thing. I want to go out into the world just like them and express things which I've learned about philosophy, psychology, spirituality, God. So because maybe through the lens which I'm able to express, people might be able to see it as a beacon of light, similarly like I did when they're in the darkness. And so I came to this YouTube channel with pure intentions. I wanted to do that for other people. But then I found along the way, I sort of lost myself. I sort of lost my initial why and my initial drive of why I wanted to start this YouTube channel. I ended up getting in my own way. I ended up losing myself, and I feel like it made me feel inauthentic. It made me feel like I was just on YouTube just to please the algorithm and just try to grow my channel, losing sight of my original vision of why I decided to do this in the first place. And this is why I wanted to talk about this, because this is so important, because I feel like when we go on our passions, and it is so easy to lose yourself with the numbers and the metrics and to lose the original reason why you decide to go at it in the first place. Like, for instance, when I think about like artists who just wanted to paint because they wanted to express, or music artists who wanted to make their music just because for the sake of making music. But then when the viewership comes and when the audience comes, and then they get influenced and then they lose themselves because they're trying to please the masses and are trying to do things which they think are going to get them more viewership and make them grow. And then in the process, they lose themselves. Like, and in all honesty, this is where I found myself, especially last year. And this is something which I'm trying to deal with right now, which is trying to find who I am again, if that makes sense. I'm trying to find out who I am and how I can show up to YouTube as who I am without thinking about the algorithm and without trying to see what other people have done and trying to copy it just because I think that that's going to get me more likes and get me more views. And I think that also the other reason I wanted to make this is because, when I've been inauthentic, it sort of just feels like a disservice to my audience who genuinely wants to follow me for me. But then if I'm trying to be someone else and have like a different agenda other than my original one of trying to serve and help people with insights, then I feel like it just becomes tainted, and it's not as good. It's not as, like, the content isn't as pure and coming from the soul as it should be, because that's what I believe that content should be. I feel like it should come from the source. It should come from the soul. And just like an artist wants to paint, even if nobody will see their painting, or if the musician who makes music, even though they don't post it, they only do it for the source of expression. That's what the same thing which I feel like I want to do. And that's what I believe that people like us who are trying to chase our passions should be aware of, to be aware of being ourselves, as simple as that sounds, because things can be simple but not easy. And this is the case with this. Being authentic, it seems like a simple idea, but it's definitely not easy, especially with all the metrics and numbers. And that's something I want to talk about as well, because if you wanted to pursue a passion, like there's this quote from Dan Kerr which goes, pursue your passions, but learn marketing psychology and sales so you don't become a starving artist. And I 100% agree with that, because if you want to get out into the world, you need to play the game. And the game is, getting the numbers and getting eyeballs to your content and getting people to, buy a product, and because you need to make a living. And I think that the biggest trap, which I want to emphasize for the people like you and me who are trying to pursue their passion and make a living out of it, is that in the process of trying to monetize your passion, there is the biggest trap of losing yourself. And this is where I found myself in. And I feel like I'm on the journey again of trying to find out who I am again, while authentically trying to grow and, monetize my channel, because this is what I'm trying to do for a living, because this is what I want to do for a living. And one idea which I'm trying to think about, because I've been reading this book recently, Reality Transurfing by Vadim Zeland. I hope I said that right. You know what? I actually want to bring up a quote from this book. And money is not the goal, nor is it really even the means to reaching the goal. It is simply an accompanying attribute. Money is nothing more than an accompanying attribute on the path to your goal. Do not worry about money, and it will come to you of its own accord. Think only of the thing you wish to achieve. It seems so contradictory, because if you are somebody who's like an artist or trying to pursue your passion, but you also need to make money, I think the biggest trick is trying to find the middle ground of how can you do it in a way which doesn't compromise your authentic values and your authentic expression, but still at the same time balance it out with the monetization aspect of it. I think that's something that all of us who are trying to pursue our passions also need to try to understand. And I do want to mention another thing as well. This is some crazy thing that I didn't even expect. So at the point where my channel started to take off with that one video that I uploaded and it ended up, gaining popularity, when I first hit my 1,000 subscribers, initially I was so happy. I was on top of the world, because this is what I really wanted. And so I thought that this happiness was just going to last forever. But it was actually the next day after I got the 1,000 subscribers and YouTube said, yeah, you're monetized now, that I reached such a low of anxiety and fear. And at the time, I really didn't know why. I can just remember this time where I was just driving for an hour alone with my own thoughts, questioning to myself, why are you feeling anxious? Why are you feeling fear? You achieved your goal of getting 1,000 subscribers. Why are you feeling this way? You should be happy. And upon reflection, I think I understand it now, is that I think that deep down at a subconscious level, I understood that a growing audience would mean that the dynamic of my content creation may change. So for instance, like I said, if you make music just to make music for yourself, then it feels really authentic. But once there's eyeballs, or once there's an audience looking to you to create, then I feel like that can really impact your authenticity, because then you're going to be thinking about what other people are going to think of your content. Because when I made that video, the Why We Fear Our Higher Self, I had 4 subscribers. So I just basically made it for myself. I was just made it with no expectation of people actually watching this video. But then after that, I fell into the trap of trying to please the algorithm and look at other people's viral videos and try to copy it. And I don't think it's a bad thing to want to have a high quality of standard for your videos, but I do also think that there can be perfection and imperfection. There's this Japanese term called wabi-sabi, I think, which is the Japanese art of finding beauty in imperfections. Rather than find faults in cracks, tears, and other imperfections, the Japanese concept of wabi-sabi encourages us to appreciate that nothing is truly perfect or permanent. Now, one of the original reasons why I wanted to start this channel was just for me to do videos like this, with no editing, no script, just me talking and sharing my lessons. But then with the larger audience, I started to think, I'm not good enough. I need to have all these editing. I need to have the perfect script. I need everything to be in line so that the algorithm and the audience can be happy. That doing a video like this is me not putting enough effort into my passion. And that is one other thing which sort of ripped me away from my original purpose. And this is something which I'm trying to work on now. I'm trying to do the inner work and trying to undo all these limiting beliefs and these patterns which I've adopted which don't serve me. I want to try to find my spiritual, authentic, higher self center and operate from that instead. And I hope in the future that my channel will reflect that. And I hope that people can resonate with it. And I believe that the right people will resonate with it. I don't really need to care about any algorithm anymore. I think that if you are trying to chase your passions, I think that you are your own unique vibration. I said that in a previous video, that you resonating at the frequency of your authentic self will resonate with the right audience. And I don't think there's any need to think about algorithms or trying to please people, because you are enough. I think the root of it is your self-concept and your level of self-love. If you have like a deep level of self-love, then you know that you don't need to change. You know that you are enough as who you are. And if you resonate at the frequency of who you are, then the audience will come naturally and things will unfold in ways in which you never would have anticipated. The universe is going to give you the bridges of incidents towards where you want to go in the most natural and flow-based way. And that's what I want to preach in this channel, of you being your authentic self. And that's why I wanted to share my journey of me losing my authentic self and my journey of trying to find it back again. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys got a lot of value out of it. And as always, see you guys in the next video. Peace. Boom.